Tracy, and today I'm going to be doing a deck tech for you guys. This is a Naya zoo build, and basically if you're like someone who's like new to my channel, basically what I do with these are mock deck techs. I make them for the purpose of making a video on them, so I'm not going out and building this deck. I'm not tweaking it because sometimes I get people who are like, why don't you change this? And I was like, okay, like, I'm not building it, so, you know, not that your comment isn't valid, but, you know, I'm not building this deck. Off focus, and I was trying to center you as best as I could. So, this is a Naya zoo build. This is a ton of fun. It's a very aggressive sort of deck. And the only other thing I'm going to say before I get started is that I build very non-traditional decks. I am not someone who net decks. I just make things up as I go along, and that's how I do it. Not everyone likes that, but that's what I do. So let's get into it. The first thing, we're going to save creatures till last because the deck runs like a ton of creatures. Like half the deck is creatures. Lands, I'm not mentioning anything specific except for I run 20. This deck has a very, very low mana cost. The deck will be listed in the description bar below. You basically want to get to 4 mana so you can cast Collect a Company, which we will talk about in a bit. But other than that, I mean, the deck has mostly 1-drop, so you don't want to be having your hand full of lands, basically. So it runs, you know, quite a bit of fetches, you know, whatnot. And shock lands are very important as well because you do have some times where you need specific mana colors. It's also a tricolor deck, so you want to make sure you have access to all of your colors. Cool. Let's get into instants. I got a 1-of Boros Charm. I really love this card. I love the charm cards just because they offer like a variety of like things to do. The 4 damage target opponent is really sweet. I mean, that's just like a really cool sort of thing for 2 mana. That's really fantastic. The other modes of the card, permanents you control getting indestructible. I mean, this is good in a lot of different matchups where they want to board wipe you. So if you find yourself in a meta that's very control heavy where people are siding in lots of board wipes, totally bring in like some Boros Charms. Bring in, you know, if you want to do a couple on your main board, a couple on your sideboard, like whatever you want to do. This card's overall just really good. And the last ability, target creature gains double strike. I mean, sometimes this can just be the finishing blow, honestly, but for the most part, you're going to probably be using it for the other modes. I like it. I mean, I just have it as a 1-of because I just like the card and I like the versatility of it, so yeah. Then I mentioned it before, but a 4-of Collected Company. Collected Company is kind of the thing of this deck. You actually are able to access every single one of your creatures with this because it's converted mana cost 3 or less. The only thing you have at 4 mana is your Collected Company, so you actually just access this. I see a lot of people make the mistake of running too many other spells and stuff like that when they run Collected Company, and honestly, like I said, half of the deck is straight up creatures. So the likelihood of you hitting creatures in your Coco is very high. Yeah, Collect Company, great card. Like I said, your deck caps out at that 4 mana slot. You really, you know, in a build like this that's very aggressive, you don't want to be going more than that, so, but Coco is just too good to resist, so. Sweet. Then 2-of Lightning Bolt. Yes, absolutely, we want this sort of aggressive thing. Sometimes your creatures can't take care of, you know, what's on the board and they need a little bit of help, or sometimes you just lightning bolt them. Sometimes they're at like 3 life or 2 life and you just bolt them and they die. Like, sometimes that just happens. Or like I said, sometimes there's a creature that you just can't take care of and you just bolt it. On a similar note, then we have Path to Exile. You know, like I said, you are very much focused on you in this type of deck. This is about you and the cards you're playing. But your opponent's board doesn't really matter to you that much. You don't have that many answers, but I do like having some answers because, again, sometimes you just can't deal with, like, something that your opponents play. And Path is really good. Or sometimes you path your own creatures for lands, which if you desperately need 1 more mana for Coco, sometimes you just do that. Love the versatility of that, how it says target any creature. Are we filming? Okay. I like this compulsion where I'm scared, like my camera just isn't filming and I'm talking to no one. Okay, cool. Creatures, there's a lot of juice in here, and I'm really excited about it. First, we start off with Birds of Paradise. Do 2 of them. Birds of Paradise, super solid card, very important in this deck. First off, it's a 0/1. Sometimes you get buffs from other things in this deck. Green mana. For a 0/1 flyer, which evasion, by the way, got flying, you add 1 mana of any color to your pool. Super awesome in a tricolor deck. Very important card. Definitely something you want to get out early on. We're going old school, guys. 3-of Burning Tree Emissary. Who the hell runs this card? This card is fantastic in this deck. Because what you do is you just Burning Tree into Burning Tree into Burning Tree, and it's just really good. And you're kind of like, okay, you get that 2 mana, but you have another body, And it synergizes with the next card, which is kind of one of the main things of the deck, which is Goblin Bushwhacker. Can we just take a moment? Because I love this card. This was the card that I was talking about that does pump your Birds of Paradise. It pumps your entire team. Also, you know, Goblin Bushwhacker into Burning Emissary, that little combo, yeah, that's really fantastic, just saying. Okay, Goblin Bushwhacker, it's a red 1/1. It's got the kicker cost, which, yes please, you want the kicker cost. ADTBs. If it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Your team just gets big and gains haste, and those burning trees get haste, and it's just great, and it bumps your birds, and it's just awesome. Like, this is like, when I think like aggressive cards, I'm like, Goblin Bushwhacker. Yes, yes, yes. Card is sweet. Definitely important in this deck. And then we have 4 of Goblin Guide, because it's just like a perfect little creature. It's just 1 mana 2/2, which is awesome. It attacks, they reveal the top card. If it's a land, they get it. If not, it just chills. Sorry, I forgot what the card did for a second. And then it just, if not, it just chills on the top of their deck. Access to information, you know what's on the top of their deck, you know if there's a board wipe coming, very important, you know, that's great. And on top of that, it's like a 1 mana 2/2 with haste. Card's a really good body. Speaking of more good bodies, this deck is full of value. We have Curd Ape, another one that's just thrown under the rug. Okay, Curd Ape is fantastic. It's basically a 1 mana 2/3. That's it. It's very simple. But again, this deck is very simple. It's very aggressive. It's pretty straightforward. It's just really good. This creature is just really good. Alright, when I was thinking of spice that I wanted to throw in this deck, I was thinking, and I was like, you know something? Legion Loyalist. Again, oh, so many cards of these in here get swept under the rug. Legion Loyalist is a great Magic card. I remember when this card came out in the pre-release and everyone was playing Battalion, and I was getting kicked in the butt because, like, Battalion was just wrecking everything, and one of the cards that I remember being super crazy noticeable was Legion Loyalist. It's a fantastic card. Okay, like 1 mana 1/1 haste. Alright, sweet. I like it. Battalion. At least you... I'm sorry, at least it and 2 other creatures attacked. You have so many creatures in this deck, this should just not be an issue. Creatures you control gain first strike and trample until end of turn, and can't be blocked by creature tokens, which could potentially be relevant in some matchups. But, like, really, I mean, getting first strike and trample, that's really good. Like, really good. Very good against decks that are running, other creatures where you just need to take care of them and whatnot. And yeah, just the trample, and then also with Goblin Bushwhacker. This is really, really good. So, I love this card. Alright, cool. Why can't I get this card? Whoa, what are you doing, tapped out? Thank you. Okay, Lone Lion. Same thing as Curd Ape. It's a 1 mana, 2/3. Very simple, but just a really nice body for a very cheap amount of mana. Very good card. So, I was thinking in terms of, you know, I've been talking about all these sweet value creatures, which, I mean, these are all sweet value creatures, but I kind of wanted something that had a little bit more of a butt. So I was like, Loxodon Smiter. It's also really, you know, I was actually thinking about one reason why this card's really good in this deck, because you tend to, like, dump your hand a lot because your stuff costs so low mana. So it'd be kind of funny if someone, like, Thoughtseized you or Inquisitioned you or Liliana the Veiled you, or really distracted because one of my friends on Facebook, I posted, intermission in the video. Has anyone actually considered the fact that mayhaps Taylor Swift didn't write Look What You Made Me Do about anyone in particular, and just like blank space, she wrote it about how the media portrays her, asking for a friend. Now, I wrote that on Facebook because, I mean, straight up, it's the truth. And it really bothers me when people are so upset about this new song, and I'm like, people just like to be upset about, like, everything. And one of my friends commented and was like, and I totally agree. I think the entire song is her throwing shade, and I don't know why, but it was just really funny to me. And I left off somewhere in this video talking about something, and it was Loxodon Smiter. So yeah, someone Thoughtseizes, Inquisitions, Liliana the Veils you, and you just don't really have a lot of cards in your hand, but you casually have this Loxodon Smiter. Hey, listen, it could totally happen. Those cards are, like, running around in the format too, so that's really good. And, you know, guys, it's a 3 mana 4/4. you know, if you discard, you get to put it on the battlefield. But it just can't be countered. It's also just a 3-mana 4/4, like that. It's just that. It's just another big butt. Ah, card's great. Okay, then we have Scavenging Ooze, and I really, really love this card, and you'll typically see this card in sideboards. And you know what? I honestly couldn't even tell you why I threw it in the main board. I just like Scavenging Ooze a lot, and I feel like people are just going to be getting rid of your creatures and you don't have recursion, so sometimes you just go the long game, and sometimes you're like, damn it, I really just need to pump this Scavenging Ooze and swing for like 8 or something cool like that. Or sometimes you just really need life, or sometimes you just really need to exile cards from graveyards and not even worry about the life because you just need to get those cards out of the graveyard. Scavenging Ooze is a house. I absolutely love this card. I think it's totally underrated. One of my favorites. Oh boy. The juice though, Step Links. Oh my god, this is awesome. This deck is such like a, I don't even want to say throwback, but I don't even know. It's just bringing back like so many cool feelings. Step Links is awesome. Also, we forgot this card is a 0/1, so casually, Goblin Bushwhacker, just letting you know. Okay, it's a 1-mana 0/1 landfall. Guys, with fetch lands, Step Links is just stupid. It just becomes like a 4/5, or you know, if you've got another fetch land on board, it just becomes bigger than that. Card is just really good, really fantastic in a deck like this where you run like a ton of fetch lands. I am in love with Step Links. I think it's a crazy amazing card. And you know, I think we're ending this on a pretty solid note because Wild Nacatl. Do you like 1-mana 3/3s? Because I like 1-mana 3/3s. Like, come on. Oh my gosh. The deck like this is funny. I've mentioned a couple times that I've been actually getting back into playing Hearthstone, and Hearthstone's actually made me really like value like sweet little creatures because I have like my shaman and I have like a Murloc deck and it's really sweet. I love it. And I have all these like cool little dudes and they buff each other and they do cool things, and it reminds me of this, and I'm just like, yes, this is awesome. Okay, Wild Nacatl's great. You really shouldn't be having issues getting planes and getting mountains on board. This should just basically pretty much always be a 3/3, especially when you want your fetch lands. When you get your shock lands so that you can have access to this card. Very great, sweet creature. I really like it. So I am not going to go into the sideboard. You guys can check that out for yourself. There's a couple of cool things in there. But I think this deck like this, you could do so much with it. Like, you have access to so many sweet creatures. I mean, you can even run Noble Hierarch in this deck too. You have access to red and green, but you also have access to blue. I mean, I could have thrown Noble Hierarch in there and that actually probably would have been fair too. But I like, you could probably do that with birds too, it just totally depends. I was going for a little bit more, I mean, that card's aggressive, but I like the access for mana, but I think your curve is just so low in this that I think you kind of can get away without running it. But yeah, super fun deck, very aggressive. This is the kind of deck that I'm just like, this is sweet. I wish I was one of those people who could play a deck like this. I'm so much of a control player that I can't, but like, this is how I can, you know, access my creativity, as I can do videos about it. So that is it, guys. I will talk to you in my next video. Thank you for watching. If you want to be a part of the next deck tech that I do, I always host polls on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's listed in the down bar below. I do polls on like what video I'm going to be doing next for my deck tech. I always get like input from people. So the deck stuff, the thing is too, and why this is up a little late actually, is because I've been working a lot. I've been working a lot of overtime, and videos like this do take a while to edit, so it's been kind of weird with like my schedule and whatnot. So because I've been working late Mondays and Wednesdays, which is typically when I film, and so it messes me up because then on Tuesday I have to like film, edit, and it's just a mess. But it's a good kind of busy. I'm definitely, you know, excited about that. So, but yeah, guys, that is it for this deck tech. I will talk to you guys later.